Hey guys, me again, Rusty. Um, so May is kind of an interesting month for me. Um, when it comes down to it, there are compound structures and relational compound structures that are a little bit unhealthy. I had an ex-boyfriend who said we could be just friends, but I woke up one time sleeping on his couch to him on top of me telling me, and I tried to get him off. I was like, dude, get off me. And he's like, you're so warm. And he claimed to be drunk. He will always claim to be drunk, but actually, he knows exactly what he's doing. Also, he's the same kind of guy who would sit there and say, don't you remember that our first date was the Matrix? And then I'm going to sit there and say, do you remember the times where you were finger banging on the couch, getting high and drunk, and letting me read the Playboy magazines? Because they have good articles. Or you and your friend going to the liquor store with me, getting booze. Remember that? Hmm. Also, um, parental is during this month as well. I have an estranged father, and it's there are things that I'm thankful for in regards to certain relationships. There's also an estranged friend, so that's actually back in April, late April. But this is those two this month. And so um, there's also Mother's Day, which when you correspond, um, see, there's legal guardianship, fostering, there's parental guidance, there's viewer discretion and supervision, there's mentorship, and then there's being a parent. All of these things, in and of themselves, fall into the category of caring for a child, whether this child is yours or not, whether it's biological or adopted, fostered, friended, whatever. Um, May being Mental Health Awareness Month, um, we're gonna take a quick hide the kid. It's the baby. Did we see her? Did we see her? She was saying hi. Going in to supervise, do her business and stuff. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and tone is changing to a deeper tone to indicate more seriousness. This is actually more severity versus seriousness in degree because if I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of people who take things way too seriously, and that's part of the problem with mental health. Just so we're on the same page here. So, when it comes to mental health, And it's not it's not that it's hard to talk about. It's just not a lot of people talk about it. So I used to get really, really depressed. I still do, but it's gotten a lot better. The tone. Ooh. Used to get depressed a lot. Suicide is a very prevalent topic. It's very near and dear to my heart for many reasons, not only from committing, but also attempting and also losing people to suicide. One of the unique and interesting aspects of my wonderment comes at a cost of knowing all angles involved. That's where where I have to be careful getting involved to a certain degree with anything at this point, because I will go in wholeheartedly with all I got. When it comes to suicide, there are it's hard to talk about certain things because there are matters involved that keep it from being easily talked about. Death, for example, abuse, domestic, sexual, um, narcissistic, antagonistic. These areas fall into categories that play into the dynamics and structural foundation and fundamentals that create the principles and morals in which a person's character and morale sits with integrity or intensity. The intentionality of which differs, but it is seemingly the drive. Okay, adjusting the tone. When it comes to suicide, there are outlets, are reasons. One of the reason why I did it is because one of the things that I'm learning now is that there are people in many fields that unfortunately do not have the experience, information, education, or proficient modules and diagrams to apply in order to have more depth and diversifying already structured areas. For example, in psychology, Um, I think I heard that the DSM breaks down into conditions and it breaks down into diagnoses. Well, what if the diagnoses were actually conditioned? You see, one of the fundamentals that gets lost easily is differentiating between human conditioning and human nature. Human conditioning is learned behavior, nature is inherent. One of the first things any human being, any human child learns inherently is crying. That is one of the first instinctual sounds and noises to make. Within the concept and construct, and within the confounds, loves, of crying, you'll find release of anger, you'll find healing from grief, you'll find elated joy from happiness. All three of these areas resemble the outcome and structuralize the insinuation of tears, but the intention is different. How you got there, what happened, is different. Now, what you do with it is the inevitable end of crying. But it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a really good thing. The reason why I was so close to suicide is because at a very young age, I realized that the system and the relationships that I had around me were, in fact, not favorable, were invalidating, dismissive. Um, and more importantly, they weren't going to change. The professionals in which I was referred to didn't have the answers. It's not that the professionals weren't capable of having the answers. They themselves just didn't have the experience. I've gone to counseling and I've sought out therapy for a lot of years, on and off. It's not a matter of me not being able to go because I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I don't need therapy. There's nothing wrong with me. It's the fact that dialectical cognitive talk, um hypnosis, there's a lot of different areas and structures of different styles in which therapy can come out. I've tried all of them essentially in some shape, size, or form. My thing is that talk is where I'm best. That's why me vlogging is good. Live, we're going to try that. Maybe we're going to try live. I tried going live before, but I wasn't able to. But it was also the same time that I wasn't able to access links on my phone because the phone was trying, with not trying, but the phone was just being weird. And if anybody has ever worked with computers, oh God, Lord knows there are days where that computer thinks it knows exactly what to do, it's in charge, and on top of that, it's a Monday all the time. Just like that. So, when it comes to um that was one of the reasons why why I was really depressed, is because I knew that this is just how it's supposed to be. And it's like, okay, um neurodiverse, neurotypical, atypical. Atypical is where you're going to find like cluster B, cluster C types. Obsessive compulsive, borderline. I think borderline personality may, in fact, actually be more potentially dangerous overall. Um, Study notes. Mm. This is fun learning about it, but I really wish I didn't have to do it firsthand. One of the things about me is um, there was this person that I knew at one point in time. We're no longer friends or anything like that. But um, she had told me she had studied anthropology. And one of the things about me is from kind of sociological and almost anthropological standpoint. I enjoy doing field study because kinesthetic learning, so hands-on experience, is where I learn sometimes best, especially if there's auditory um, response as well, unless it is auditory is best. Catch. Don't say it. Don't go there. um, One of the things that's nice is that we're if you're willing to admit that there's so much more to learn out there. There's so much. If I could, I would probably be a professional student. I would be like, is it possible to orally discuss material that one would go over during the course of classes and possibly with tests? I'm learning how to take notes though. Practice, right? Is why it bother me. Oh God. um so when it comes to it, I am actually glad that things didn't work out and I didn't end up dying. I haven't died yet. Really excited about that. Cuz it actually gets better. One of the things kind of tying back into all of this, going over a lot of the experiential um and it's consequential and inconsequential lovelies. One of the things that's nice about that is that I have to actually go through the experience myself, which in some circumstances, um, such as antagonistic, toxic, is not recommended ever. But now I know a few things that I can put out with you. If I have to remember to make sure to make notes in the description about warnings and disclaimers, because some of this material um, needs to be discussed with kids and older people as well. Um, it does get better. They say knowledge is power, and I have definitely pushed that. But what people don't tell you is the more you know, the worse off you can actually be. You have to be discerning in what you say, how you say it, to whom you say it to, and what is said, and how it's said, and make sure to confirm what was said. Indestructible variables. Ah! Right? I hear a monkey stirring. It's a baby. Eee. So, just topped off her box, changed out the litter, so um, she's um, so um, the more you know, it is better. But the thing is, one thing that's best to learn is yourself. If you don't necessarily, one of the key factors when it comes to learning about who you are, if you don't necessarily know who you are, my love, my darlings, my strange and my friends and the new people, if you don't know who you are, that's okay. That's a good place to start. At least you're in a position to know a whether a you don't know, and b whether you want to find out. If you want to find out, there's a couple of different ways about going about this. First of all, find out what you, the things you're good at that you like being good at. Two, find the things you like and get really good at it. Not hobbies, moments. Get really good at that moment where it's just like, I am kind of out here on my own. It's a beautiful day, the weather is pleasant, and for whatever reason, it's like, I'm okay. And then there's this other reason where it's like, kind of like it. I don't have to be anything for anybody, which is another point. Um, Try and figure out what you do for somebody else, and try and figure out if what you do for somebody else is good. And if it's good, is it because you get something out of it too? Because that's called mutuality. And reciprocity is when all parties involved get something out of it. That's a win-win situation. It's not impossible. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to sustain. It's plausible. It's possible. And more importantly, loves, it's doable. Now, Uh, Another day, right? My lap harp has gotten tuned at Jacob's Music Shop in Sierra Vista, which Jacob's Music Shop was bought by a couple who was kind of in. Miss Kathy was letting me know that they were going to retire, and they decided to open a business to kind of do something with the time, you know, make a little bit of money and kind of hang out around music. I mean, how bad could that be? But honestly, I gotta tell you something. There's some people out there, like covert narcissists, that are like celebrity people. And it really, really bothers me knowing that I could potentially be one of their fans. Knowing that I have been, ooh, there's some crazy out there. Just because a person has high IQ doesn't mean they're doing anything good with it. That is what you call a psychopath. Oh, another day, another dollar. Ha cha cha. Um, Real quick. Okay, so this is the first time in my entire life I've ever had to do this. This is the advanced directive. So if something bad happens to me at the hospital and I am not in a place or a state where I can speak freely for myself, this is what you fill out. So then there's this part here. Okay. It says what organs, tissue I choose to donate. A, whole body. B, any needed parts or organs. C, these parts or organs only. I chose C. Left thumb, left middle finger. Right lung, right kidney, frontal lobe. Right foot. What purposes? I donate organs, tissues for. I circled D, other. Please excuse the euphemism. Fuck this. So I, 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot out the door into losing my mind and being over life. And that's the purpose. In which organization or person I want my parts and organs to go to. C, I authorize my representative to make this decision. Upon my death, I direct my body to be buried. So my left side is going to be bodied, and then my right side I want to have cremated. And then the right side, once it's cremated, there's going to be small increments that are going to be put into contraceptives with little notes attached. Like, screw this, or it looks like I'm fucked now. Oh, 1 foot in the grave and 1 out the door. Oh my god, that is so dark. It's so wrong. But it's like, okay, like, you can't view the body, but there's gonna be a small box that's gonna have a thumb and a middle finger. It's gonna be like, "Good job, fucker." 'Cause that's me at the core, like, dark. That's just that a sense of humor, kids, is what's really gonna get you by. Okay, that's, my mental awareness. Gonna bring this up again, but there are days where I kinda feel, like, developmentally challenged, 'cause the, challenge seems to be developing mentally. Alright, lovelies. Well, on that note, I'm going to let you go to the days, eves, and rest that I hope you find wellness in. And from one heart to another, safe journeys. And to the I'm gonna use a movie reference to refer to my loves as the First Wives Club, because I'm gonna be a first wife too. Hi. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna try and call soon to that one. Um, you know, being on your own isn't too bad, but when you're in love, it's really difficult being like long distance relationships. I have no idea how people who are in healthy relationships do that. So maybe we could figure something out. Close in on the distance, right? So, to my friends, hey guys, have fun. And to everybody else, thank you for joining us. We'd like to welcome you. We are in the establishment and creation of Healing Hands, an organization that is built upon reciprocity. And from the better half, you got all turned around. It was weird. Talk to you later.